In today's video, I am going to show you how to get all of your products, or as many of your products as we can, into position number one for your shopping ads, right? Because position number one means more impressions, more clicks, and more conversions for your products. Position number one ads tend to see a 52% higher click-through rate than position number two. And so we're going to go through a handful of things today, but really we're going to look at the three different things that are driving shopping rankings, and then how to consistently outperform your competition so that your products are in number one and not theirs. I suppose by this point you're asking yourself, like, how am I able to talk about these things? Like, where does my credibility come from? And so we are consistently doing this for clients that we work with. We've spent over 10 million just over the last 12 months alone on behalf of clients. We've generated over 80 million in revenue on behalf of the brands that we work with. But aside from that, right, you can see this ad from Florence, London. When we make a search, our ads are in position number one, position number four, position number six, and position number seven. So almost 50%, 60% of the listings in that shopping tile are ours. So what I want you to grasp here from this video is that to get into position number one, you need to essentially maximize your ad rank, right? And ad rank is essentially built up of a handful of different components that we can sort of leverage and improve to get our shopping ads showing more in position number one. And so things that we can improve on are price, bids, listing relevance, and engagement. So the quality of your feed. So we're talking titles, descriptions, images, GTINs, all of the information that you provide to Google about your products, and then historical performance. So how well has your products performed historically? Have they delivered a impression to click to conversion quite regularly? You know, what's the conversion rate on those products? That will determine whether Google consistently shows your products or not. So all of these things combined make up your ad rank. So I think one of the most common things that we hear from brands and questions that we get from the clients that we're working with is, well, surely if I spend more and I throw more money at Google, it will give me that position number one spot, right? And yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, you know, I don't blame them for asking that question, but no, position number one ads tend to be earned. So they're earned through not just forcing your way in with more budget and, you know, breaking the door down, but a combination of an aggressive bid as well as aggressive budgets plus a really high quality listing. And then those three all together maximize your ad rank and give you the best chance of being in position number one for your top performing products. So just before we jump in, if you're running Google Ads right now and you're not happy with the performance and you would like a completely free Google Ads audit from our team where we will show you how to improve your sales and improve your ROAS and get more money out of your advertising budget, then that will be the first link in the description. And if you want to sign up to our newsletter, it's completely free. We're posting case studies, tutorials, breakdowns, and a ton of value every single week in that newsletter. That will be the second link in the description. But aside from that, let's get straight back into this video. Now, the order in which we do things is incredibly important, right? So we're first going to optimize our ad rank, and then we're going to layer in the bids afterwards. Like, we need to make sure that our ads are as good as they possibly can be before we start to scale the budgets and the bids and be more aggressive with our spending, right? And so bids really are only going to amplify performance. They're not going to create it. So the three controllable levers that we can sort of start working in are price competitiveness, listing quality and relevance, and then conversion performance. So lever number one, and the first point that we're going to go through, is price competitiveness, because it's arguably one of the most important. Every time you make a search on Google that's commercially driven, right, thousands of these happen every second, your ads will be entered into an immediate instant auction alongside your competition, right? Google is basically matching the search to your products and showing your products, and more than likely a ton of your competitors' products, at the same time. It's then up to the person that's searching to decide which listing they want to click on. But when it comes to price competitiveness, like I say, Google Ads is an auction, and so it is looking for a fair price for a good product, right? And so if your price is 20, 30, 40, 100 times more expensive than your competition, you're going to really struggle to show in that top spot, right? Now, this does not mean that you need to be the cheapest, but it does mean that you need to be price competitive if you are going to want to get in that position number one spot, right? And when it comes to price, the main sort of thing that people don't understand is that price is not just built in from the product, just the price of the product, right? It's the price of the product plus the shipping cost. So it's the total cost to the customer. And that is what is determining whether you are in position number 1, position number 2, or position number 3. If your cost is more, like to give you an example, if your product was £10 and your competitor's product was 12, but then they were offering free shipping and your product was £5 to ship, your total cost to the customer is £15. Whereas your competitors, although they had a more expensive product price, their overall deal with the free shipping, meaning that their total cost to the customer is £12 and not £15, is actually better than yours, right? And so they will have a better chance of showing in that position number 1 spot. The way that I would test this is I would probably look to make a couple of searches on your key terms, look at how competitive you are against your competition, and then if you feel like price is holding you back and you can't see yourself in those handful of positions, then it might be worth doing some testing on reducing your pricing by 5%, maybe 10%, I would say 15% maximum, and run some of your hero products side by side with a small discount. And what you want to be doing is you want to be looking at a couple of different metrics, but the main metrics you want to look at are, is our click-through rate increasing? Is our impression share increasing? But is our top search impression share increasing, right? So top search impression share basically shows you, out of the times that we showed our ads in this auction, how many times did they appear within those top positions, right? And that will give you a really good idea as to whether price has had a good impact on making sure that your ads are being shown closer to the front. Because it might be that just reducing your price by 5 to 10% moves you from position number 5 up to position number 2, where a lot more of the clicks happen. And so as a result of that, you're getting more clicks, more impressions, and more sales through your products. And that might be overall a better long-term strategy for you rather than adding that extra 5% on your product cost, right? I'm sure you could probably make up that difference somewhere else with improving your shipping costs, improving your fulfillment costs, getting a better product price from your supplier. I mean, all of those things are levers that we can pull basically to reduce the price. And so that is number 1. So lever number 2 is your listing quality and the relevance of your listing. So shopping relevance comes from your feed, not from your keywords, purely because with shopping campaigns and performance max campaigns, you do not have keywords, right? And so Google is understanding your product from the information that you upload, which we call attributes. So that's things like your product type, the category, the size variant that you upload, the color variant that you upload, the material variant that you upload, the gender, your GTIN, which is the number that you give to Google that identifies the product, and then the brand name. All of that information that you pass to Google helps Google to understand what the product is, right? That's on the back end. But then on the front end, you've got your titles. So how well your titles are structured, how well your images are structured, how good quality your images, are they good resolution, are they engaging? Really on the back end, you want to make sure that Google has as much information as possible about your products so it understands when to serve them. But then on the front end, you want to make sure that your listing is the most engaging it can be, right? If you looked at 5 shopping tiles, every single time your eyes should go towards your one. Your eyes should be drawing towards your shopping tile and not your competition. Because if you make a search and you realize, okay, actually my top competition shopping tile, my top competitor's shopping tile is far better than mine. They've got better imagery, they've got a better structured title, they've got more reviews than I have, generally a more engaging ad, maybe they've got some sort of discount and they're showing like strike-through pricing or some sort of promotion, then it's no wonder that they're going to be beating you in the auction and getting more impressions, more clicks, and more conversions than you, right? Because their shopping ad is inherently better, so more people are searching and more people's eyes are drawing towards their shopping ad and not yours. So how can we improve this, right? So like I mentioned, you don't have keywords, so your feed does all the heavy lifting, and the main portion of your feed that does most of the heavy lifting in terms of getting your products in front of customers is your title. Your title essentially acts as your keyword for your shopping listings, for your product ads, right? And so if your title is not structured correctly, then your ads will not be showing on the right searches, and they might be showing on some of the wrong searches, and that will just be killing performance for you. So a good structured title is something like brand name, product type, key attribute, and then variant, right? So this could be Hoka running shoes. It could be nylon material, size 11 or something. So we're structuring the titles in a way that are potential customers are searching for them online. And that will allow us to get in more of these auctions and avoid placing ourselves in auctions that aren't going to deliver sales for us, basically. On top of that, like I mentioned, you want clean, high-res images. You want the image to fill the frame. You want no text overlay or very little text overlay. And it's probably a good idea to test both lifestyle and just studio shot images. So how would I go about actually testing this? Well, take a handful of your hero products, like 5 to 10 of your products that do really well, and start making some searches, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to look up some of our competitors and we're going to look at the way that they are talking about the products, like what titles are they using, what descriptions are they using, have they got any promos running, have they got reviews connected, have they got really cool images, are they using lifestyle images, are they using, studio shot images? But I think most importantly, have a look at how they're structuring their titles, and if your titles aren't structured correctly, it might be worth having a little look at how you can improve your titles. And then on the back end, you want to basically just go in to Merchant Center and Shopify and start updating all of your attributes and just making sure that Google has as much information as possible. If you're missing product types and you're missing, variables that are going to help Google better understand your products, just get as much information in there as possible, and that will help Google to understand exactly what it is you sell and allow Google to serve those products better. So once you've improved these listings, what I would do is I would probably, let's say you've improved the title, you've added more attributes in the back end of Google on your top performing products, and then you might have updated a couple of images, right? I would let this run for a couple of weeks, and what I would be looking at is again, similar to the first point, I would be looking at your click-through rates on those products. So I'd be comparing them to when we hadn't made the changes versus when we have, and I would be looking to see improvements in click-through rate, right? If we're starting to see more impressions and an improvement in click-through rates, and we're starting to see your top search impression share improving and more conversions, which is obviously the main goal, through these products after sort of 2 weeks, then the changes that we have made have worked. And finally, level number 3, which is conversion performance, right? So Google is going to reward products that it knows will convert time and time again, and has consistently converted time and time again historically through the account, right? So, you will see your top performing products getting more clicks, more spend, more conversions, and ultimately, more distribution from Google. And that's because Google's machine learning is essentially understanding that these products, when served, get a good click-through rate. The person gets delivered to the site, they actually tend to buy quite regularly. And so Google's happy to continue to serve that product to that customer and that search because it's resulting in a conversion, right? So it must have been a successful journey for the customer to get all the way from a search to a shopping ad to a landing page to eventually convert. And so if Google starts to notice that a lot of that is happening around certain products, then that's an amazing thing, right? But how can we improve that and make sure that more of our products are converting better? Well, it normally comes down to landing page experience. So once we've done all of the above steps, we can then start improving your landing pages. So little things like improving the speed and the load time of your landing pages really help. You don't want people to be waiting 5 seconds before they hit your main homepage, right? Reducing friction also helps. So letting people know exactly how much the price is rather than waiting until they get to checkout and then they realize, oh, there's, an extra $15 or pounds worth of shipping, and just making that conversion process completely frictionless, right? People do not want to be taking 10 minutes and have to fill out, their date of birth and where they went to school to buy your products, right? They just want a very simple and easy, frictionless conversion process. So the information that you should get from the customer is just enough that you need to basically allow them to make the purchase. You don't want to be collecting any additional information that's going to slow down them potentially making a purchase, because every second that they're sat in the checkout and typing in their details is an opportunity for someone to interrupt them and take them away from what they're doing, and then they never end up purchasing from you. So the last thing that I will say is trust signals. So trust is everything with e-com and with B2B, but people need to trust you to buy from you, right? If you've got tons of reviews and you've got tons of social proof and you've been featured here and featured there and a famous person's wore your clothing or a famous person's wore your shoes, right? Shout about it everywhere. Add all of your trust signals on your main landers and on your product pages. And if you get specific, you've got high performing products that get really good reviews, stick some of the reviews on that landing page, build as much trust everywhere as you can, as much as possible, and that will help people to feel more comfortable with checking out for the first time on your site. And finally, I know we said we were going to touch on this, and that is bids. So So the top 3 levers that we've just mentioned will help you to improve your ads, improve your landing page, and ultimately improve the experience for the customer. And then once we have got to a point where we're really happy with performance generally, we can then start layering in bids, right? So essentially what we want to do here is we want to identify our top performing products. So the products that get the highest conversion rate, the best ROAS, and they're, rising to the top, right? So they might be in our bestseller campaign or something. We want to increase bids on them by, let's say, 10 to 15% at a time. I would then wait for 7 to 14 days. Again, I would look at those same metrics. I would look at your impression share. I would look at your top impression share. I would look at how many sales you're getting. I would look at your conversion rates. You ultimately want to scale things up steadily rather than just throwing money at something that's not working. And that's why we always fix the fundamentals before we get to bids. And really what you want to be doing here is looking at the performance, as I say, after 14 days. And if things are improving, I would then start adding more budget after 14 days. But I would make sure that performance is generally up, right? And you're seeing an improvement in sales, or if not an improvement in sales, at least an improvement in those lower metrics like impressions and clicks and volume and search top impression share. And you're just getting more distribution, right? But that's basically it for today's video. Now, like I say, position number 1 is earned, it's not bought. And so just a quick recap on the 3 levers, right? So the first one is price competitiveness. You want your prices to be really competitive. Second one is making sure that your listing quality is as good as possible on the front end and on the back end with the information that you're giving to Google. Number 3 is conversion performance. Google learns about which products do really, really well, and it will continue to push those products. And the best way that you can improve that and get better product performance is by improving the landing page experience and making sure that your conversion rate improves on the site. More conversions, more data back to Google, it will continue to push your products more regularly. That's basically it for today. If you've enjoyed this video and you've found some value, go ahead and hit that subscribe and turn on the notifications. We're posting weekly at the moment and we're on our way to 400 subscribers. If you want that audit, it's the first link in the description. And if you are interested in signing up to the newsletter, completely free, that'll be the second link in the description. This is William Cameron, Google Ads done correctly, and I will see you in the next video.